Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our channel, to my channel.
And my
Jesus
channel.
Christ, I'm like choking here already. I'm telling you, the energy this week has been really funky for me. Okay, so I've been stumbling over my words and having all kinds of issues. It's kind of funny because Mercury retrograde, I think, ends tomorrow, correct?
It does end tomorrow, but we're still in a gray period, the shadow period, until like the beginning of December. So it's usually like the shadow period is like 1 to 2 weeks before Mercury retrograde and 1 to 2 weeks after Mercury retrograde. And just depending on your personal chart, how you feel energies, it's either more intense for you or less intense for you. It just depends on each individual person.
Okay, so anyway, back to the subject here. What we're going to be talking about today is dreams. And, see, I'm already having issues with this. So this ties in kind of to the past life podcast that we just did. So, and you'll see why. But it's like, we're going to discuss like different dreams, what's the different types of dreams that people usually have. We're going to talk about where to look for dream interpretation, dream journaling. We're just going to cover on a bunch of stuff regarding dreams and past life stuff regarding dreams. And how do you know it's a past life memory, possibly. So we're just going to go ahead and dive in, I guess. So, you have anything to add to that intro there, Ciara?
Probably we'll talk maybe a little bit about, archetypes in dreams, since I know a little bit about that. We've both done videos together of like pick a cards on, each of our channels that have to do with certain archetypes from dreams, specifically, the anima and animus.
Yeah.
Which are archetypes that come from, Carl Jung, which is a, leading kind of person on this topic, and where a lot of sort of the archetype ideas for dream interpretation, he studied that and discussed that a bit.
He was
come from him.
Way cooler than Freud.
Well, he was a student of Freud, but he definitely took things to the more metaphysical area of psychology, and is kind of where we get a lot of information from because he studied it a bit.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to touch on something that I forgot to mention in the last podcast about, because I went into pretty good detail about the blonde spirit guides. Okay, I'm going to talk about spirit guides. The blonde one that I had, the blonde male in the last one, I gave you quite a little bit more detail about him. But when we were talking about how I'm pretty sure that I lived pretty damn sure in Japan at one point, it's kind of obvious because of the spirit guides. Okay. When you have somebody appearing in your dream, yet you have never looked at them, spoke to them, seen them ever in this lifetime, and they keep showing up repeatedly over and over again in a dream, and they have a familiarity about them, you might be attracted to them like hardcore. Usually that's a guide, okay? And that's probably an ancestor or somebody, from a past life that you were close to who's here to protect you. And when mine show up, I have 2 specific Japanese ones that come up. One is a female and one is a male. The female is like, oh my God, you guys, she's so sweet and so gentle and so loving and just like really kind and wants to talk to me. And she's so like mellow and chill. And it's like when I look at her, it's like you can tell there's nothing but love there. It's like really beautiful energy. And there is another one, okay, this is like a separate one but whenever he shows up, and this isn't the Japanese one I'm talking about, whenever he shows up, she bolts and she's like, I'm out. And she splits because he's kind of a pushy prick. So it's really, and he's very forceful, but he always is showing up. Okay. And his energy is very strong, but yet he can be cool and gentle and stuff. But the Japanese male one that shows up, he is way chill, kind of serious, really just cool as hell. I mean, extremely gentle with me. But with others, he seems like he's a little bit more like badass, I guess you could say. Like people don't fuck with him. Like when I come across other, you know, people, I wish you can't see I'm doing air quotes, but in my dreams, he's very like protective of me against them, kind of, you know what I mean? Like he steps in and it's like nobody wants to fuck with him at all. It's like he's a force to be reckoned with. But with me, he's like really cool and really, really sweet. In fact, he was in my dream the other night and he was like guiding me through the city and he was talking to me and telling me rules and like literally instructing me and showing me where to go and stuff. And there was a guy who was getting onto a passenger, what do you call it? God damn it, streetcar. There you go. And he was getting onto the back of it and he kind of had like sandy blonde hair and he had like really unusual colored, like kind of like ambery type brown colored eyes. And he looked at me and he was shocked to shit, okay, to see me. It was really weird. And then my guide, he walks up to him and he kind of just like slaps his hand on his shoulder and he starts speaking to him. But it was really weird because I couldn't hear what he was saying. It was muffled. So whatever he was saying to this guy, it was not meant for me to hear. It was so weird and I was like straining to hear. And then I noticed that the sandy blonde haired guy had a tattoo on his shoulder. And it wasn't big, it wasn't obnoxious, it wasn't super colorful. And I like got closer to it and I looked at it and it was a scorpion holding two guns, like Glocks, and like, you know, like holding them up. And I like looked at him and I started laughing and I just kind of butted in and I'm like, Scorpio much like that? And he just looked at me like with this look like, what the fuck, bitch? You know, and like he just went kind of scoffed and then he got onto the car and drove off. And it was like, I was laughing my ass off. I'm like, God, the look on his face though. And I was just like laughing in the dream. And my guide is just like kind of sitting there and he's just like got this smirk on his face and he's just like not saying a fucking word. Kind of like he was entertained by it, but he wasn't about to like break out laughing or something. So I don't know what the hell that was all about, but it was very clear. And it's like, you know that a dream isn't just a regular dream too, when you can sense everything so clearly. And it's like razor sharp, razor clear. You'll hear multiple sounds all at the same time, like as if you're there. It's either you're going to a different plane or you're having a past life memory of some sort, or it's like a blend of both, or they're reminding you of something. And he was deliberately reminding me of something or telling me to stay away from a certain area because it's dangerous. So that was kind of interesting. So I made note of it. I'm not even going to say what it is. And he told me to watch out and cover my ass. And, you know, it was a really fucking trippy dream. That was like the last one I had with him in it. And he was holding my hand and it was weird because he like grabbed my hand and he was like holding my hand and it was like, I could feel like the warmth of his hand and it was kind of like it was warm and sunny outside. So you could feel like, kind of like, you know how like when you're holding hands with somebody and it's warm, how you can feel like your palms like kind of getting sweaty. It was like that. I could totally feel it. It was a trip. So that I had to touch on. That's how you know if it's a spirit guide and could be possibly past life stuff, because it doesn't make any sense really when you think about it. Like, you know, I am not of Japanese descent, okay? And yet they are heavily around me in the dream state and I feel their energy. So it's like, duh, you know, and the things that I'm attracted to or that appeal to me, you know, it normally, like when you think about it, it's like, what? Why do you like? It's like one of those things. Like I said in the other podcast, like, why do you like this? Why? What is so attracting? What is so appealing of this? Why are you so attracted to it? Well, there you go. That's how I know. And that's how I know about the Egyptian thing, and that's how I know about the Scandinavian thing. So, because those are three very important, very prominent things or lifetimes where they were important lifetimes for some reason, or maybe I haven't finished learning from those lifetimes and that's what I'm here in this lifetime to try to do. And this time I'm more open and receptive to guides and ancestors and whatever, and I'm gonna fucking listen because I want to, you know, unleash that old karma or whatever, you know, so I can move on.
So for me, I'm not sure if I would necessarily refer to it as a specific guide. It could potentially be, or it's sort of like a mashup between a guide and my animus, or my animus is like appearing as my guide. I'm not completely sure, but I do have a prominent animus that appears, and he'll, for many years he'd appear as one way, but every now and again his appearance changes, but the feeling is still the same. So even if he looks different, I can recognize him because of the energy that I sense off this, whatever you want to refer, whatever the animus actually is. I mean, of course, the theory is, it is your masculine inner half appearing in your dreams, but who's to say it isn't something else, whether that's a spirit guide or any number of other things. But I've had mine appear as, somebody with dark hair and lighter eyes, sometimes with dark hair and darker eyes, or like very prominent blonde hair, or like sandy blonde hair. It's usually one of those three things that appears in my dream. I've had a lot of interesting, for me, I often am in places in my dream that are not bound by the same rules as our Earth is, even though it can be seem like Earth. There's usually magic involved in some way, shape, or form.
Definitely.
There's usually I've had so many different kinds of fae appear in my dream. That's just how I refer to them as fae. I've also had a very interesting, very strange dream, which resulted in the appearance of a very unusual and first time ever that I've had this appear in my dream, where I was just like, that was a deity of some sort that appeared in my dream. I still haven't figured out and placed, what sort of area she comes from, or, what specific region, culture she belongs to. But it was very much a primordial kind of deity. And it's interesting for me because a lot of the things that appear in my dream, I would bet that a lot of people would be absolutely terrified by how they look, especially on the fae side, because I've had some very kind of, I would just say kind of dark and demented looking ones that have appeared, but for some reason they never scare me. Because oftentimes in my dreams, I'm usually involved with something like that, or even spirits or ghosts, poltergeists, possessions, and usually, fighting against those things in some way, shape, or form. It's very weird. I've gone to a lot of different places in my dreams and encountered multiple different types of people and creatures. Because personally, I do not believe, there's this whole theory that everybody you see in your dream is somebody that you've actually seen in the real world, that maybe you even just passed in your brain, picked up.
Right.
I do not buy that.
Bullshit.
For one second.
I'm sorry, if I would have freaking seen these people for one fucking second, especially Mr. Blondie, okay, and this other guy, my Japanese guy, I would be like, if I saw them, okay? Because they're so fucking good looking. It's like, I'm sorry, okay? It's like there's no fucking way I wouldn't notice that shit.
Maybe another way
everyone else would notice it too.
Another way you could probably maybe think about that. Maybe it's like people that you've seen in a past life that your mind is remembering.
That exactly.
Potentially, but
that makes sense.
There's just, I've seen way too many different types of people and things in my dreams for it to just be, because it just doesn't make any sense. Especially the things that are otherworldly in nature. Because I've had, for example, I had a specific, being that I referred to as a fae appear in a dream a long, long time ago. And he looked human, but with longer hair, and he was some sort of water fae. And it was just very interesting how that dream even went down. I've also had, I'm trying to think exactly. Another thing I've noticed, and I've actually had conversations with people about this over Instagram, is for some reason, a lot of times animals appear in my dream either as black or white.
Oh my God,
and
me too.
a lot of
Yes.
other people have had that happen as well. So I'm not sure.
So totally true.
You know, I was discussing it with somebody, and, you know, one theory could be like it's the representation of, you know, light and dark within you or something. Again, when it comes to animals, because I know that's something that a lot of people will search when they're looking up for dream interpretations is, you know, you might dream about bees or snakes or cats or dogs or whatever it may be, and you want to know what is the symbology behind this animal in your dream. And there are good sites online that you can find, but the bigger thing I would suggest is, especially when it comes to animals, is what is your relationship with that particular animal, and you know, what feelings are associated with it. Like, for example, for me, if a snake appears in my dream, it's nothing scary to me because I'm not scared of snakes. But for somebody else, if a snake appears in their dream and they have a fear of it, that's going to have a completely different meaning for them in their dream than it is for me and mine because of just my association with it.
She had snakes for pets, so.
I had a bunch of different animals as pets growing up, and I was a nature kid anyway, so I loved being outside and with the creepy crawlies.
She even had a jumping spider as a friend.
Yes, I love jumping spiders. They're adorable. If you haven't seen Lucas the Spider on YouTube, you will appreciate spiders a little bit more.
Yeah, so that's interesting that she said that about the animal thing, because that's going to bring me back to something else that has happened, in particular with her and I and dreams. We will literally dream the same exact symbology or
items
or people on the same exact night. Now I ask you, how the F does that happen?
In fact,
okay? If it's just a dream, how the hell do we freaking do that?
So,
how does that happen, people? Huh? Explain that, psychologists. I'd like to hear you try. Well,
so
that's right, because nobody can.
That's what I was going to say, is that it was funny because when I was taking a, general psychology course, I had a very good teacher, and it was during the portion of the course where we were kind of discussing Freud, and then we were discussing his students. So, of course, Jung came up, and we were discussing dreams. And so after that class was over, I actually went up to my professor, and I was, explaining some of these kind of strange dreams that I had with my twin here, where we dreamt about these same things, and I had no knowledge of what it was, but she knew what it was. And, how is that explained? And my professor was just like, can't explain it.
Yep.
Legit, can't explain it.
Like, literally, we just did it recently, okay? We both had white cats in our dream, okay? And it was associated with some blonde guys. The same number of blonde guys. One being, one being very prominent. And definitely, like, we was in a house.
Yeah, that whole dream.
And it wasn't our house.
No.
So,
it was a very upscale, swanky house.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of funny. And for me, for my dream, what was happening in that, it started off, there was a lot of water involved, a lot of the ocean.
Yes.
And that's another interesting thing for me that I know probably other people would not be a huge fan of having in their dream is being underwater. A lot of people, for their dreams, being underwater can be
traumatic.
Very frightening because you're worried about drowning. For me, in all my dreams, whenever I've been in water, which goes back to our past life video the other day that we posted up, I was explaining on there, maybe in a past life I was in a very prominent place of water or living someplace that was in water. And sure enough, in my dreams, usually if I'm in water, I'm like breathing under the water.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not panicking. I'm not drowning. I've never really had a dream where I've drowned, ever. I've also never really had many dreams of falling or anything like that.
I have flying ones.
I've had dreams where I'm flying, like,
or I'm literally being carried by an angel, like with wings, flying me through the air, holding me gently like a baby.
I've had a lot of dreams where I'm flying like on a broomstick, like a witch. It's like it's very funny. I've had one dream where that was happening. I was with two other people and we were flying, and I was actually being able to see ley lines and watching a ley line turn. It started off as blue and then it turned red because something was up with it. Something was like feeding off of it. It was very, very unusual dream. And Another one I had involved a forest with, faces on the trees that they speak, and then there was kind of like a old abandoned house, and then another prominent person, again my animus, appeared, and there was just this very funny interaction between me and him in the dream. And then
what color? Which one was that? What color hair?
So this was during a period of time where he was appearing literally in the same way in multiple dreams, where he had dark hair and he was always wearing a gray suit. Because the previous dream before this one, where I was flying, there was one where it was like this mafia situation, and again, kind of similar. Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me that? Because you know about my thing that I told you about that.
This was a while ago.
Well, I don't even know if I want to mention mine.
No.
They weren't Italian mafia. Let me just put it
these were not Italian mafia. Not exactly.
What?
I mean, they could have been. I don't know.
What kind of mafia?
I have it written down somewhere.
They didn't have lots of tattoos all over their body, did they?
I couldn't see them. They were all wearing suits.
Okay, well.
And there was a giant fish tank. And there was powers involved with this. And so, yeah, that was an interesting group of dreams. But overall, as I mentioned in the past life video, there's only really one prominent dream where I've had a situation where I died in a dream. Otherwise, it's mostly, I don't know. My dreams are very interesting. They're very vivid as well.
But I have to point out, it's kind of interesting if you were paying attention to what I said about the people who appear in my dreams. It's like they're blonde or black haired. They have dark hair. And then occasionally a sandy blonde person will pop up, and boom, what did Ciara say? The same exact damn thing.
I've very rarely had a redheaded person appear in my dream. Although, again, that one water fae person.
Wait. The dude with the long hair that showed up with the two dark haired guys who sprouted the wings. Mm-hmm. He had kind of like reddish hair.
Well, that's what this particular fae, he had very longish hair that was like a deep
dark red,
kind of like that, but like a little bit of brown in it.
Yeah,
but that was an interesting one.
Was he cute? Yeah.
I'm not talking about much more of that one.
Okay, he's fucking sassy. That one.
It was a lot of water involved in that. I usually have a lot of water involved in my dreams.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. We're getting visited by the same ass fucking people.
Okay, I had this dream way before you ever had your dream.
But it's still, it
years.
Sounds exactly
I'm talking about years.
Fine. So what? And you recently just started dreaming about blondes. And it's
it started with the one particular blonde.
And now
particular name.
It's like we've kind of switched. We've traded off. It's weird. Okay?
Yeah, I had a very, very interesting dream where this one very, very blonde person appeared, and it was so odd, and I have to question this dream in particular because of the way he reacted in the dream. There was a point in it where I was going through this city, and I was aware that he was somewhere in the crowd, and so I was looking for him, and when I spotted him and we made eye contact, he was so surprised that I recognized him and I saw him.
See,
so it was like it was not normal.
Yeah.
Okay, because of how just like instantaneously it was just
it's like that recognition.
Odd. It was very much like recognition.
Yes.
So I have to question whether or not I'm not sure if I've really ever, because I know that some people, when they dream, they inadvertently astral project places.
Oh my God.
I'm honestly not sure if I do that or not. I have to do more research into, what exactly everybody experiences with astral projection, but
I was dead. I died, literally, for reals. I'm pretty damn sure that's what happened because people who claim they astral project, they have a cord attached to them. Everyone talks about seeing this cord attached to their body.
I've never seen that.
I had no fucking cord attached to my body, and I could see myself laying there. All right. And I felt really good, really free. I was 13 years old. It was like, I don't know if I stopped breathing. My heart stopped. I have no
Well, you had asthma, so that wouldn't be too much of a stretch.
I'm still struggling with that kind of shit in this lifetime, I'm just like allergic to earth, and literally, I'm not kidding, I have a thumb drive sitting right here that has a scan of the inside of my head. My sinuses are not built like normal people's sinuses. they are, I mean, it's like kind of scary how it's not normal. Let me just put it to you that way. All right. And I can smell shit that people can't smell. Like I noticed that, I mean, this is kind of off subject. Now I'm getting off subject, but I've picked up on smells that literally saved the whole entire block, like where my dad's house is. Because I kept walking into his house smelling gas, like natural gas, and nobody else could smell it. And I'd be like, dude, it's so strong. You cannot smell that. And nobody could fucking smell it except me. It was driving me nuts. And this went on for like weeks. And then I kept complaining to him. I said, you need to get somebody out here because I think you have a gas leak. So sure enough, the gas and power or gas people there, it's just gas because he's in Southern California. They came out and they did find a gas leak. And it was 10 feet down below the earth outside his living room window. It was the gas main to the entire block. And they were so shocked. And like the ways the guys were looking at me was kind of like they were so shocked, and they were almost like horrified. Like they were asking me, how the hell did you know this? I'm like, because I could smell it. And they're like, how? We couldn't even smell it until we got down here further, that we could, smell it. And they had to use equipment to figure it out. But I could smell it. And yes, he's like, it's so good that you caught this because this could have gone, and then the whole entire block would have been gone. Everything would have blown. So that was kind of a trippy experience. But back to what I was saying about the death thing. You see, it's kind of weird because I always was very like, psychic kind of, or sensed things. I mean, ever since I can remember. Like
we'll do a different podcast on that subject.
But after the age of 13, shit really ramped up, and that's probably because of what happened to me. And what I went out of my body, and I'm not even going to go into details on this, but I went somewhere, and the way I got there was very much in tune with a specific culture. Okay? I'm not going to say what it is yet. But let me tell you, I didn't know a goddamn thing about it. Okay? When this occurred to me.
When she first told me about it, I was like, oh, that's what that is. Totally was what it sounds like.
And I had no idea because when I was 13 years old, I didn't know shit about this specific culture. Okay? I really didn't. I didn't know a goddamn thing about it. So the fact that what I described is kind of freaking mind-blowing. All right? Where I went. But when I came back into my body, it hurt really, really fucking bad. It did not feel good. All right? It hurt. It was like I was cosmically bitch slapped by a giant hand. And I was told I wasn't supposed to be where I was. And they were kind of pissed that I was there and I needed to go because it wasn't time yet, So I don't know if I inadvertently willed myself out of my body and was like, fuck this life. I'm sick of it. Because it's kind of, I did grow up. I wasn't very happy growing up. And especially around that age, it was fucking miserable. Okay. So, I'm not surprised. So when I came back in, it was just like, it fucking hurt all over. And my whole entire body just tingled all over so bad. And I was like trembling and shaking and sweating so bad. And it was just like, it was not pleasant. It was not a pleasant. When I was out of my body, it was rather fucking pleasant. But it was fucking intense. So I knew that was not a normal dream because I actually had physical fucking pain. And I was so out of it for the whole rest of the day. And I never even said a goddamn word to my freaking parents about it either. And I'm not gonna, Now I'm telling everybody about it, but it's like, it was quite a fucking experience.
It's a very weird experience when you're having a dream and you literally feel something or smell something like that intense. I had a dream recently where it was really, again, a lot of my dreams can be like, boy, if you wrote that out as a story, it would be mighty interesting. But this particular dream, I'm going to refer to him as my animus, was appearing. And literally, there was like a point in the dream where I was walking past and he touched me and I literally felt it. It was so weird. But, if that goes into the importance of definitely keeping a dream journal.
Yeah.
If you do not keep a dream journal,
You need
then
to do that.
yeah, you definitely need to start, because it's not only that, it's like you never know, because I know I've had a lot of people who have commented on my videos or messaged me explaining how a lot of the stuff they'll dream actually comes to pass in their physical reality. And I think everybody has, at least to some extent, that happen within their dreams. It's just a matter of really starting to pay attention and, again, writing them down. For example, I had a dream not too long ago where it literally went from raining to hailing and then snow, and that actually came to pass just a couple days ago. And so I was just like completely mind blown, because especially the hail part of it was literally hailing, and I was just like, wow. And I remembered it because I wrote down that dream.
Yeah, and she texted me.
I did, because I was just like, dude, you remember that dream I told you about? Look what's happening. I swear, if it starts snowing, I'm going to freak out. And yes, it started snowing. So, and then I was making jokes about, oh, I guess a blonde guy is going to appear next.
So yeah, that's interesting that she says that, because lately what's been happening to me a butt ton is my cutie guide here, he's showing me tarot cards. Okay?
I've had tarot cards appear in my dreams as well.
And he's literally showing me these spreads, and I'm like, he's explaining me to them and showing me them. And literally the very next morning when I get up, I have the urge to go ahead and pull some cards for myself, and lo and behold, the exact cards he pulled and he's stressing to me come out. What the F? You know, it's just so cool. And I squeal when they come out, because it's like, and it's getting more and more intense. Okay. The precognitive stuff is really ramping up for me lately. And I mean, I'm just like dreaming stuff before it happens. I'm saying it before it happens, and it's happening. The tarot card, I mean, so specific with what what is happening and what's coming up, and there's a specific card that keeps coming up as well, which I've posted in my Instagram and mentioned it before, but I'm like, what the F? And it's kind of funny, because right before he was showing me all these tarot cards, when this started happening, he kept mentioning zodiac signs in particular, and he kept stressing Gemini for some reason. And I was like, what? Gemini, what? And he just kept telling me, pay attention and watch out, because there's a Gemini coming. And I'm like, really? Okay, whatever. And he's told me that like so many fucking times. And it just keeps coming up over and over again. And it's like, sure enough, the tarot card that keeps coming out is associated with Gemini. So it's like, obviously there's something coming that's a person that's a Gemini that's going to have an important role in my life, I guess. So that is the message, and I'm just sitting here going, okay, whatever, we'll see. What's funny is she's talking about the dream journaling. I recently, at the beginning of this year, went through some old dream journals, and I was freaking the fuck out, because I literally, I think it was 3 years before we moved into the house that I'm in, I dreamt of this house. And it was so specific what I had written and how I described it, right down to the damn neighbor's cat, which was a black, long-haired cat. And I was describing the cat and, its personality and everything in the dream. And sure enough, here I am in the exact house with the neighbor's cat. And the cat's name is Vinny, and it's buddies with my dog. So they're like, bosom buddies. It's so weird, because this cat totally likes my dog, and my dog totally likes the cat. And my dog is black and white, which is weird, because my old dog was also black and white. I guess we have a thing for black and white dogs, which is how the animals usually appear in my dream. They are black or white, or black and white. Sometimes I get colorful ones. Like I actually got a snake in my dream not too long ago, like 2 weeks ago, and it was yellow, black, and red. And I remember waking up and being all stressed out. I'm like, what is the saying? Red touching yellow could kill a fellow. Red touching black, poison lack. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was a non-poisonous snake in the dream. But you know, when a snake, like whenever you're dreaming of a snake, they say like, first of all, snakes are incredibly sacred.
Yes,
they are very spiritual animals. And if a snake is trying to bite you, that means that, I think it said wisdom, that you're going to learn an important lesson, or a piece of wisdom is going to be, you know, coming to light for you, or whatever.
Snakes are also very much related to the masculine and phallic symbols and fertility. They're very much a fertility symbol as well. Mm-hmm. There's also, you know, of course, if you're witnessing a snake eating its own tail or something like that in your dream, that is very much about cycles, because, you know, it's the cycle of birth, death, rebirth.
Yeah.
And the such. So again, it goes back to definitely, you know, look up, you know, try to find a source that you like, or a book that you like that has a good amount of interpretations for symbols and dreams. But you also kind of have to, again, like everything, use your own intuition, your own judgment, how it applies to you. Kind of like with, pick a card readings on YouTube, they're general readings. So you have to kind of add in your own work into it to make it apply to you, if you pick the right pile for yourself. Again, that goes back to using your intuition and not just your eyes to pick what's pretty.
Yeah. So, exactly. Dream Moods is a website that has a whole lot of interpretations on it. I think it's probably my favorite one to go look at, because it has so many specific things.
It does.
I mean, there's like so many. I mean, there's other websites that have stuff, but it's like this one has like so many things. Like, I mean, just inanimate objects, like, you know,
pencil.
Yeah, or whatever, you know, or blue birds, like a specific color animal. They have, you know, interpretations for that on there. And I think they are based on Jung's research.
Yeah, a lot of it. A lot of stuff that comes to dream interpretation comes from Jung. Like, again, something that is very, very common for a lot of people to dream about is houses. And it's commonly, you know, referred to, the house is the self. And so, you know, windows would be kind of like the eyes, you know, the attic would be the mind, the basement would be kind of, you know, the lower aspects of yourself. And each room kind of has a specific, you know, relation to who you are as a person, or a certain feeling. And so, you know, it was very interesting, because I had a whole little stint of dreams where I was in my room, and inside my closet was a weird, crawl space that it does not exist in my room, that was leading into this whole wider kind of like network of things in the house. And surprisingly, I think both times it happened, there was somebody inside this crawl space. And one in particular was very, very odd, because they were like somebody who was kind of trapped in time in a sense, or kind of like a ghost, but not exactly a ghost or something. And that whole dream, you know, developed into some kind of like end of days situation. And I remember like the sun turning blue, or being like large or something. Ivor. It was very, very odd. Very, very odd. Again, if you haven't figured out by now from this video, I have very, very odd dreams. Like, again, one dream that I had was this group of people, which a lot of times I'll have dreams where I'm not even the person that everything's happened to, but I'm watching other people, or I'm looking through other people's eyes. And it was a group of 3 people who got kind of teleported into this other world. And there was these 3 huge standing stones, like giant ones, in this wide field. And it was nighttime. It was like
Jamie and Claire pop out? Yeah,
seriously. It was kind of like that. But then there was like, kind of me in this dream was running from, and these people ended up coming along with it, because there was this weird tribe of people in this area that had, you know, the weird gas masks on.
Are you my mummy?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what they looked like. And they were not like human creatures or something, but they were chasing these people. And then there was something with like glowing flower. And then the normal people, like the other people who lived in this world, they hid underground. They lived underground in tunnels.
Excuse me? Hollow Earth much?
Yeah, it was very much like that, and sure enough, it's like how the dream transformed from there was me literally telling this story of how this world was happening to my brother in the dream, and then that's when I saw the specific deity outside the window while I was telling this story. It was so odd. That's why I remember this dream so well, because it's like I wrote it down and it was just very, very odd and intense, the energy that was coming off, especially this deity that appeared.
That's a trip.
I still need to draw it out. It's a goal of mine. It's kind of like a project I need to start working on, is drawing out all the images and certain scenes from dreams I've had.
Oh, man.
Because it would be quite an interesting little collection of drawings, I think, paintings.
I think for some of mine, it would be total spank bank material for people. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I have a couple of those.
Oh, man. Woo. Hello.
And so on that note, I've also had a lot of people, and I've had conversations with people who express that they have a lot of troubles remembering their dreams, or, trouble sleeping and stuff. So going into some of the things that I suggest to help with that. One is, personally, we both, me and my twin, we'll drink tea before bed, specifically like bedtime teas or mugwort. Mugwort is a very good one for enhancing dreams, especially if you mix it with honey. It can intensify dreams, make them more vivid. Or any other kind of like bedtime tea could also work. Something that's soothing. I always drink tea before bed, and it does help with me with sleep. But the other thing that I personally use a lot is I sleep with crystals. I sleep with crystals in my pillow, and also other ones that I like kind of hold during the night or have somewhere else. And
yeah, I have them right next to my bed because I'm honestly a little sketched out to keep them in my bed. Sometimes, although this is kind of hot, I had a Shiva Lingam and I was meditating with it, and I guess because I like literally place it on the chakras and stuff. Like when I meditate with crystals at night, I'll like lay in my bed, and at nighttime I'll like lay down and I lay crystals on myself, and I guess I fell asleep. And I missed that one, putting it, because I have a nightstand right next to my head, and I'll put my crystals on there and I keep them on there. But I guess somehow I missed the lingam one, and it ended up underneath my man all night long. Which, how the hell did it get there? Obviously he needed it. So it's like, whatever, usually I'm like afraid they're gonna get lost, or they're gonna end up somewhere else on the other side of the bed, or whatever. It's just, if you're gonna put them in your under your pillow or whatever, put them in your
I put them in my pillowcase,
which I have done.
And I'm not so worried about losing my stones, because usually if I'm going to sleep with one, I have meditated before and putting crystals on, whatever chakras I was working on. But a lot of times I'll usually have a particular crystal that I'm attracted to. I have the ones I put in my pillowcase for dreaming. And then there's usually one, whatever it is that I'm attracted to at the moment, that I hold or I place over like my heart. And a lot of times it's like throughout the night, I will have that thing still in my hand when I wake up. It's very funny.
How the hell do you do that?
I don't know. It just happens sometimes.
That's weird.
But I always encourage people, when it comes to picking out crystals, no matter what it is your intention of what it is you're wanting, and you should, if you want to, research more about your crystals, learn what their properties are. But also, it's like, don't worry so much about that. If you go into a crystal shop, just allow yourself to be attracted and resonate with whatever crystals you see. If you pick it up and it feels good to you and you like it, then that's what's meant for you. And then, worry about later looking up what exactly its meanings are or what its properties are if you want to. Because no matter what, if you follow your intuition and you allow yourself to be drawn to whatever resonates to you, that's going to be the crystal that's going to work the best for you, because it will most likely have properties that are what you need to work on in this moment. Usually that's what happens to me. I'll go into a crystal shop, I'll pick out whatever crystals I feel attracted to, I like, and sure enough, all of them will relate to the same sort of things that they relate to. Like,
exactly.
There was a time not too long ago where I picked out a bunch of stones And they all had to do with divine masculine energy and divine feminine and balancing the two. So that was pretty interesting.
For me, I have been attracted to lots of blues and greens.
I've been picking out a lot of green stones lately.
But recently when we just took a trip and I posted it, it was more like whites, blacks, and grays, which is weird because normally I'm all about the color and I'm usually blue
more
and
grounding.
Green. Yeah, so these were really intense ones that I picked up, and I think, oh God, I'm brain farting right now. I'm trying to remember. I have a picture right here.
So what I'm going to do is I made a little list. I'm always still adding to it, specifically for crystals that are good for different, for dreams and for different aspects of dreaming. So I'm going to go ahead and read off the list, and then I will get more specific into the ones that I personally use and work the best for me. Doesn't necessarily mean they will work the best for you. It just, again, let whatever resonates with you resonate and use that. So one of the first crystals that pops up always when you're looking and you're researching about dreams and for almost pretty much anything else, and that is amethyst. Amethyst is a great stone for everything, but it's also a good stone if you want to use it for dreaming purposes and also cleansing other stones around it. So, and again, that's another point to make note of when it comes to whatever crystals you pick. You can program your crystals to do whatever it is your intention is for it if you program it correctly and you cleanse it correctly. So the next stones that are also good for dreams are, angel aura quartz, shamanic dreamstone, Herkimer diamond, moldavite, which moldavite is a very intense, high vibrational one. So everybody kind of reacts differently to moldavite. So just be aware of that. Moonstone, rainbow moonstone, agates, ametrine, which is amethyst mixed with citrine. Clear quartz is your basic all-around good stone for literally anything, because that is one of the best ones to program to do and have properties that you want for whatever your intention is. Let's see if I can say this one correctly. Dioptase? I don't know. It's spelled Dioptase. Chrysoprase is another one. Dambarite, labradorite, lepidolite, malachite.
Malachite is a good one.
Scolecite, which is one that you just recently
got.
Yes, I
just bought it. Here, this is what scolecite is. I'm literally looking at the photo right now. When one holds scolecite, they invite waves of peace and serenity to wash over their aura. This high vibrational stone aids in communicating with spirit and spirit guides. Hello. Mm-hmm. Meditate with this on your third eye for inner stillness.
A lot of time I find that stones that are usually related to the third eye, or even just like communicating with guides, are also typically good for dream work as well. So another stone that is specifically good if you want to focus more on restful sleep is celestite.
Oh yeah.
A good stone to use in regards to dream enhancing is rhodochrosite. Dream recall stones is, of course, one of the first one is dream quartz, which is actually made up of prehnite, epodite, and lithium. So if you have one or two of those stones, for me personally, I have a prehnite and epodite stone combined, and that is my go-to dream stone that I use and I put in my pillowcase. So dream quartz makes up part of that. Amethyst is another one that you can use for dream recall. Hemphorite, which is spelled Hemimorphite. I might not be pronouncing that one right. And then Herkimer diamond is the other one that is good for dream recall. I'm trying to think. There was another one that I was recently using for dreams and for sleeping, but personally, no. So garnet was one of the special stones that I just felt called to use, and again, I was placing it on my heart and I was holding it. For me personally, garnet out of anything I used was the most intense for me when it came to sexual energy. Let's just put it that way. More so than using a Shiva lingam or whatnot. That has been the most intense one for me. Secondly, I would say is garner. Okay, let's see if I can say this right. Garnerite. That's the one that I use that stone a lot. I just like it a lot. I also like my particular one because of the shape. But Yeah, again, you can use really any stone that you like. I mean, rose quartz wouldn't be a bad one to also sleep with just because it's very healing. It's about unconditional love. And so, personally, my go-to dream stones have been prenhite, epidite, combined, as well as lepidolite. That is like one of the go-to ones for dreaming, and rhodochrosite. Those are the three that have been the most, that definitely I experienced like major dream enhancing, dream recall, just more intense dreams, more vivid dreams, was by using those three stones for me personally. But again, I encourage you all to experiment, try whatever. I have mixed different things around, but those are the three that I just resonate the best with.
So my advice for people who are having sleep troubles and they want to dream is obviously you need to get outside and get some damn sunlight. Because
and exercise.
Yes. Well, let me get to that. So sunlight definitely helps with your circadian, rhythms. It helps to produce vitamin D in the body. And yeah, you want to get that kind. Okay. Don't always be afraid of the sun. You don't need to be out in the sun for hours on end, but you do need to get some sun without sunblock. Okay. So it actually helps to make it so you get sound, deep sleep. I think more people need to understand this, how important the sun is to us. It's a star too. So then she was talking about working out. Yeah, you guys, when you work out, it's like the fountain of youth. All right. Especially if you combine that with eating unprocessed foods. That's another thing. All right. Because the more shit you put in your body, the harder it is for your body to process it. It slows things down. It ages you faster. And, it just makes it harder for your body to work, just to do its normal, biological processes. So by getting exercise, working out, and when I say work out, I mean you need to sweat, okay? You need to work up a sweat to where you're tired and it's like hard for you to speak when you're working out. And, you want to work out on a regular basis. You want to work out at the very minimum, okay? 3 times a week. You want to go for more though. I'm not going to lie. If you want to look good and feel good, you need to work out at least 5 times a week. My advice is to go hard or go home. Okay. And when I say that, it's like you can get like really good exercise, like, like interval training, Tabata training, where you can get a really gnarly ass workout in like 20 minutes in. That's going to be very effective and shed fat and just help you feel good, which by the way, I do have a personal training certification. So it's like, yeah, I think I know a little bit about this. So, definitely you want to be doing that, okay? Because I notice a difference for me personally, if I do not work out on a regular basis, my body just feels like shit and I can't sleep worth a damn. For me, lifting weights, okay? All right? I know a lot of women out there are chicken shit of this, but you need to get over that crap right now. Because when you lift weights, you're not going to look like a goddamn man. We don't produce enough testosterone in our body.
Not unless you're taking steroids.
Yeah, exactly. Are you going to do roids? I'm not. Ew. So when you're lifting weights, it actually stimulates growth hormone in your body. Growth hormone, people, is the fountain of fucking youth. It is what keeps you young. It keeps muscle mass on your body. And let me just put it this way. I don't look my age, okay? At all. Because of this. So, plus magic. But anyway, I also highly recommend eating a vegetable-based diet. And when I say vegetable-based, it doesn't mean you have to go vegan. Okay, vegans? You don't need to force that down everybody's throat. It is good to eat that way. There's nothing wrong with it, but there's some fat vegans out there too. Okay, so just saying, you're not perfect if you're a vegan. That's bullshit. So what I mean is unprocessed. You want to stick to only unprocessed foods, the closest to nature that you can get. If you're buying something prepackaged in a package, sorry, that's processed. Okay? you want to fill your plate mainly with just fruits and vegetables, and then add anything else as accoutrement, basically. So you want to base your whole diet on vegetables and fruits, and then add everything else in after that. The closer you can get to that, and the more of these, because it's vitamins and nutrients in there. And you want to eat, I'm sorry, I know this is going to piss people off, but too bad. You can buy organic food at fucking Walmart, people. There's no excuse. All right. So yes, you want to get as organic as possible without pesticides and all that shit on it. If you have space to have an earth box or something like that, grow your own when it comes to certain stuff, especially strawberries, because man, they spray so much shit on those. It's nasty. Whenever you can, okay? And I know not everybody can do it, okay? But as the more of the sprayed and processed shit you remove from your diet, the better it's going to be for you, and the better all of your body processes are going to work. If you don't believe me, go look up Chinese body clock, all right? It'll give you some nice freaking background and information on what could be possibly wrong with you if you go look at that, because there's symptoms and signs of different things. Like if you're waking up at certain hours during the night or whatnot, it can tell you a lot. Usually if you wake up between what is it?
Well, between 2 and 3 has to really do about the liver.
Okay.
And so you need a detox.
Yeah, exactly. So, my advice for good sleep, to good dreams, to, be healthy is to work out. And don't be afraid to throw some friggin' iron around, okay? You don't have to become Arnold fucking Schwarzenegger, but you do need to freaking stimulate the growth hormone in your body. And you can do that in various ways, but you do want to have some resistance there so that you're actually, forcing your body to work. You're not going to just get there by just going on walks, okay? It's not enough. I'm sorry. You're going to have to sweat a little bit more. You can still go on walks. It's actually very beneficial to do that, especially for stress. Holy shit. So, but yeah, I love it. Love it when I'm having a shitty day and I get outside, go in nature. And then if I lift some weights, because I just put my ear pods in and I blast the music and just go to a different place and freaking slam some shit around. Even if I'm feeling tired and I do that, I feel so good afterwards. Oh my God. So, yeah, that's definitely what I recommend for dreams, besides all the other stuff that she said, for sure.
So,
I mean, if you guys have any questions about any of the things that we're talking about here, or if you want to share some repetitive dreams that you're having, if you haven't listened to our past life podcast, I highly recommend you go back and listen to that as well, because we do touch on some stuff about, dreaming and past life memories. So, yeah, please do share experiences that you've had with it. Maybe things you've learned, or maybe you've dreamt of something and then it actually happened. Do share, because I love to hear people's stories about this. It is always really interesting. It's really fascinating and intriguing. It's so much fun to learn and to share with other people. So, we're all one collective consciousness. We all experience things in different ways, but the point is we're all experiencing it. Lots of similarities and synchronicities here. So, yeah, and please tell us about your guides. If you have guides that repetitively, are showing up to you, tell us about them. I'm very curious. I'd love to hear this kind of thing. I mean, I have one female and several males. So the divine masculine likes to be up in my grill, I guess, So yeah, that's about it, I guess, for this one. So make sure to like and subscribe, hit the bell for this channel so that
you can get notified for more future videos.
Yes, exactly. And future podcasts as well. And we'd like to thank all of our lovely soul tribe for being with us here tonight. And we love you. We wish you the best, and take care until next time.
See you in the next one.
Bye.